again. I encountered it then. I think a lot had to do with the powers that was running that group. I don't think it has to do with everyone indefinite in the industry, but there is a thread in the industry that certain artists go through this, unfortunately.
So you're standing on stage, you're still hemorrhaging from your abortion.
Yes.
How did you feel about that abortion at the time?
Horrible.
Oh, you did? Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah, no, horrible. Because a murder is taking place in your body. The body's your temple.
And you could feel that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any woman that's like screaming their abortion and making it seem like it's such a heroic thing, something else is going on, because that's not how you feel. You feel like something has been taken from you, like a kidney, like something that has always been inside of you has been taken. Like, that's how it feels. It feels horrible. It's a horrible experience, and it's a traumatic experience. And there are like these two little girls in the front row, and they're going, oh, Mommy, she's a pussycat doll. And I was coming through the audience. So I'm like staged, Patti LaBelle's singing. I'm about to go on stage with all of my, band members. And these little girls just kind of gave me a shock to my core, out of the mouth of babes, literally.
Yes. This is like a hallucinogenic scene you're describing.
Oh my gosh, it was
still hemorrhaging from your abortion.
Yes.
Patti LaBelle is singing.
Yes.
It's tens of millions of people are watching.
Yes.
Two little girls say
and
this.
Two little girls say this.
Inside you. And
literally, it was like, I can't do this. Like, they think that this is beautiful. Like, they want to be me the way I wanted to be a Spice Girl. Absolutely not. I cannot do this. Like, I have to figure a way out. That was the beginning of, I got to figure a way out.
That's wild that they came to you on stage while performing.
Mm-hmm. I was at the side of the stage because I was about to go up. Yeah. I wonder where those two little girls are now. Truly, because they say...
On stage while performing.
Mm-hmm. I was at the side of the stage because I was about to go up. Yeah. I wonder where those two little girls are now. Truly, because they saved my life. Truly. Yeah.
Was that really the first time that you'd had some connection to these transcendent forces, or something's acting on you clearly? Like, were you a believer in anything before then?
Yeah, absolutely. I always listened to the Lord is who told me I needed to leave the Pussycat Dolls. I mean, Scarlett Johansson was a good nudge. She came and did a guest appearance with the Pussycat Dolls, and she was getting her hair and makeup done with me. And she said, I would never let them talk to me the way they talk to you. Like, in the film industry, we don't tolerate that. So she caught it right away, the abuse. And I remember thinking, And then those two girls saying what they said, and I'm in the process of losing my child. That was the aha moment for sure. But the Holy Spirit in prayer, I remember being in my home, and he said, you're going to end up not alive if you stay here, because of just who he made me to be. I'm just not built for, I think you have to really have a chink in your armor in the sinister realm to tolerate what you go through in certain sectors of the music industry, for sure. Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So you got the message you have to leave this job, which, and getting that job, of course, was your goal, right? Out of thousands.
That was my dream, yeah.
Of course, but you have to leave it.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to leave it?
I'm going to say almost a year. I mean, from that moment, the clock began. I knew I needed out. I didn't know how that was going to work. I wanted to be respectful because the people that owned us were Universal. I mean, you're not going to go up against Universal Music Group and win. So, you have to find the wherewithal to be very strategically wise, prophetic instruction, and be smart about it.
So you were under contract to them?
Yes, I was under contract.
You cannot fool with contracts in the entertainment business.
No. Yeah, it's under the universe, literally. And so I was adamant about being wise to completing my contract, doing the best that I could, and completing the album, which I did complete, finished, signed off all rights on it, and that was it.
What was that like that year?
Hard and sad. Didn't get to say goodbye to my bandmates. We said goodbye to the executives. They knew the decision. they asked me if I wanted to be a solo artist still under the institution, but I knew that that could have been the worst thing for me because I still was really not sure who I was as an artist at that point. I was so broken, and I was scared that it could lead to me just being shelved. So the wisest thing was to step away, not go into another contract with anyone, and take a beat. Yeah.
Well, that's hard.
Yeah.
Because you're on a trajectory shaped like that.
Yes.
And then you voluntarily just step off.
Oh yeah, a $13 million record deal. You're walking away from. You're not. You know you are ascending, and your ascension is with the best writers, the best producers. There is no there's no plan B or C. You're going into A. You're a top mainline production. The main people in the music industry are sitting with you for breakfast. So you're aware of just how important you are. You're having breakfast with some insanely powerful people who are talking about writing hits for you. And you're going into the studio with the best people possible. You're just, wow, this is so cool. Is it though? Is it? And for what price? What price are you paying for this?
It's just a very heavy decision. And we should just say for viewers who don't follow this, so the music business in the United States is the global music business.
Yes.
It's like that's for the whole world.
Yes, that's right.
There's no kind of competing center of world music.
No. And part of the contract was I was, as long as my voice was being heard, I was not going to be able to be heard because I had an immediate offer from Capitol Records. And at that point, I remember Julian Raymond and Andy Slater, still friends of mine. They've known me since I was a 16-year-old girl when I was signed to them under a development deal. And I remember Andy and Julian calling me and saying, you're going to hear it from us. We can't sign you. And I literally was just like, am I blacklisted? That's immediately what I thought. And they said, no, you're not blacklisted, but you're going to have to wait. And it sucks, Kaya. You're just going to have to wait until they do a second album. Better pray that they do a second album. So I had to wait. And that was 3 years of waiting.
What did you do?
I sang background vocals for Mick Jagger.
What was that like?
Awesome. I sang background vocals for Mick Jagger with Catherine, Katy Perry, who was signed to Sony at the time. She wasn't Katy Perry yet. She hadn't kissed a girl or any of that.
She went by Catherine?
She went by Catherine. She was a Christian artist. Her parents know the Lord. She knows the Lord. She was a Christian artist. Her parents know the Lord. She knows the Lord. Background vocals for Mick Jagger with Catherine, Katy Perry, who was signed to Sony at the time. She wasn't Katy Perry yet. She hadn't kissed a girl or any of that.
She went by Catherine?
She went by Catherine. She was a Christian artist. Her parents know the Lord. She knows the Lord. Yeah.
What was Mick Jagger like?
Very talented. Very talented. Very controlling. Very talented. Very aware of his instrument and top tier of the industry. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very impressive. Definitely. So that for me was between that and then I got a modeling deal. I was lucky enough that I got a modeling deal and I went to New York and I modeled for a little bit, but I was like, this isn't for me. This is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I just love writing music and singing. That's my passion. That's my love.
So what was happening inside you during those 3 years?
Oh gosh, tremendous sadness, depression for sure. Yeah, because I wasn't getting to create. And I remember when I was then allowed to create again, because it was like a moment again that happened. Oh yeah, and it was like, oh yes, a moment. Like, okay, now it's time. And it was like 1 a.m. in the morning, and I get a phone call from a very big executive who was at a Christmas party. And basically the powers that be said, we're going to turn this solo record into a second album. So they were pushing for someone's solo record. And at that point, they were like, no, we're just going to turn it into the second Pussycat Doll album. And I knew it. And literally the call comes in. It's like 1:05 in the morning. And I'm like, why are you calling me? And I'm like, it's time to record. It's time to record. You're going to be free. You start now. Like, and I mean, it's like that. It literally is like that. It is a tiny group of, literally the call comes in. It's like 1:05 in the morning. And I'm like, why are you calling me? And I'm like, it's time to record. It's time to record. You're going to be free. You start now. Like, and I mean, it's like that. It literally is like that. It is a tiny group of people that control the music world. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And so when they say to do something, you do it.
Well, I knew at that point, like, they had internal information that I was then, free. I could now start recording, and my voice wasn't on it. I wasn't a part of any of the, the copyright or anything like that. My voice wasn't a signature on it. So that gave me freedom to start recording and creating who I was. So I started immediately doing that in hopes that, I was going to make some headway. But yeah, it's very strategic. I'll tell you how strategic it is. When I said that I pray to Jesus on camera, I was called that day by people in the music industry and said, I hope you know you can't walk that back.
Can't walk that back? What do you mean?
What I said about Jesus.
Why would you walk it back?
Correct. Well, if you're a Satanist, you would walk it back.
So that it was that offensive?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And so if you're a Satanist, do you think that some of the people involved were Satanists?
Oh, wholeheartedly, yes. Yes.
That's a little surprise. I mean, for those of us who haven't been in the music business,
I don't think it's that surprising.
It's not surprising at all. Let me apologize for my falseness.
I don't think it's that surprising.
I'm so shocked to hear that, guy. Really, you're saying this?
I'm so sorry. It's really not that shocking.
I'm proud of myself.
Let's just be honest. I think let's just call a spade a spade. I think.
Amen, baby.